What's going on, everyone? Bass here. Did I tell you that I love this football team? How's it going, everyone? Hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season. Sorry this video is a little bit late. A lot of stuff going on with the holidays and all and whatnot. And plus, I had to rush and make that do not mock the belt video. If you haven't seen it, go down in the description. I'll put a link to it, but I'm assuming you have. Let me start off by saying there was a lot of negativity before this game. Packers are going to get crushed by the Titans. Titans are a lot better football team. You know, #1 scoring in offense. Yada, yada, yada. Derrick Henry's going to run for 300 yards. He's going to look like Adrian Peterson in his prime. I mean, come on. You guys got to at least have a little bit of faith. And then this happens. 40-14. Just smoke them. Smoke them in the snow. A wonderful game by both sides of the football team, defense especially. Give this team credit. Stop saying it's the refs. Stop saying they're frauds. And I'm talking mainly about people on Twitter that aren't Packers fans. Oh, they're always complaining about the refs. It's the refs. It's the refs. They favor the Packers. It was 40-14. How is that the refs? Was there a couple calls that were iffy with the Aaron Jones stepping out of bounds? In real time, it didn't look like it. Throw the challenge flag faster. Okay, Mike Vrabel? You even admitted that was your fault. So how is that the refs backing the Packers? It's in the snow. There's white cleats. There's snow on the field. It's a white sideline. The Packers smoked the Titans. End of story. So I usually start with offense, but I think rightfully so, I just need to start with the defense here. This was the best game of the season for the team all around, and especially for the defense. They shut down the #1 scoring offense. As for Ryan Tannehill, he had his worst completion percentage, his worst quarterback rating, his worst yards per average, and his worst adjusted yards gained per attempt, and his first 2-interception game all year. All those categories were his worst. And the Packers completely shut him down. They shut him down, and they really contained Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry only had 98 yards, 50 of which came pretty much when Titans were out of the game by 2+ scores, so, you know, you could call it garbage time yards, whatever. Hey, if Derrick Henry ran under 98 yards and got shut down in the first half and the Packers were able to dictate what the Titans did on offense, to me, that's shutting down that offense and shutting down Derrick Henry. And people may say, oh, well, it's the snow. Ryan Tannehill, he couldn't throw and do all... Aaron Rodgers had one of his highest completion percentage games of his career. Like, I don't understand that narrative. Every single play, I'm almost certain every single play a new ball or a cleaned, dried ball is put into play. So I don't get that narrative. It's not like you're playing backyard football in a neighborhood where you're using the same ball every play and it's coated in ice. It's not like that. The Titans are a very physical team, and that's which I will admit I was scared about. Just like the Bucs game and teams like the 49ers, very physical team. But the Packers played more physical than them, and I needed to see that. We needed to see that from this football team. That's so great to see, and that's basically showing us that this team can play physical and punch you in the mouth, which is exactly what needed to happen. The Packers defense begged them to pass on 1st and 2nd down, which is a perfect game plan. Kudos to Mike Pettine. I know he gets a lot of hate from myself and others included, but a great game plan there by Mike Pettine. Pretty much, I know Ryan Tannehill is a great quarterback and is having a great year, but if you look at between him and Derrick Henry, have Tannehill beat you. Because I think Tannehill's, a lot of his success stems from the great running game and then play action, of course. So make them pass on 1st and 2nd down. Pretty much stack the box on 1st and 2nd and tell them, hey, pass it. It's a snowy game. It's a frozen tundra. And it worked to perfection. People need to start recognizing Darnell Savage as an all-pro safety. Dudes from around my area, Newark, Delaware represent. Since week 10, quarterbacks when targeting Darnell Savage, 3 for 16, 57 yards, 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 6 pass breakups, and a passer rating of 2.3. Dude has been playing lights out the back half of this season. You know, he seemed you didn't see him much earlier in the season, but I think, you know, he's just putting it all together. He's a second-year player, and I officially say he made the jump, and he's becoming a premier player on this defense. When you have guys as young as Jaire Alexander and Darnell Savage making plays like they are, your defense is going to be good for a long time. Darnell Savage and Adrian Amos have been playing lights out for the past 4 or 5 weeks. I think they are all pro safeties. Speaking of second-year jumps, Rashawn Gary is the real deal. Where are the haters for Gary? Last year when they drafted him, 12th overall, everyone wanted to bitch about it. Where are you now? Everyone's saying, oh, well, he didn't contribute his first year. He barely got any snaps. There's a reason for that. There's a reason why you draft players and why they fall to those certain spots and you develop them. Because they're freak athletes. Rashan Gary is a freak athlete. I think he had a 10.0 RAS for scouting. Ridiculous. Just ridiculous. You know, you have to develop these players. They might not do things year one. Rashan Gary led the team in PFF rating with a 90.7, which is elite. Past that, Zadarius Smith, who had a sack, had a 90.0, which is elite. Darnell Savage, who had an interception, had an 89.9, which is elite. Should have had a second interception, kind of bobbled it, but hey. And then Jair with an 87.0, which is elite / high quality. Those are 4 players on your defense with a elite rating against the #1 scoring offense. That's insane. Jair has been on his own island, speaking of him. He has been bar none the best cornerback in the league, in my opinion. And he has the swagger, the ability, the skill, and he is just putting it all out there, and he is shutting down any receiver that's matching up against him. The one negative I have for the defense, which I don't want to be negative at all, but Kevin King is still trending downwards. He didn't have that great of a game. Like I said, that second corner spot's a little shaky, but when you have players playing as good as Jair, Savage, and Amos in the defensive backfield, it makes up for that. You know, Kevin King can be a weak spot. And when you have players such as those other good ones, you're going to have a weak spot. And Kevin King is just that. That's not saying Kevin King isn't a decent player when he's playing good. I think he's above average to average, but players aren't going to target Darnell Savage and Jair Alexander over him. So that's why he's getting a lot of throws at him, and it's showing up as him trending downwards, which he is. Last year of his deal, we'll see what happens with him. All right, so on to the offense, which played really well as well, obviously, with, 40 points. A.J. Dillon, man. A.J. Dillon. You can see it right behind me, the jersey. I got so hyped for him. I've been hyped for him. I was so damn hyped I gave this jersey away that's behind me. I was very high on him coming out of the draft. I wanted the Packers to draft him. I thought maybe if you could steal him in the 3rd, maybe you have to trade up and get him in the 3rd, that would have been wonderful. I was happy where they got him in the 2nd. I'm okay. I was okay with that. Where are the haters at? Why would you draft a running back in the 2nd round? It's because you don't pay running backs. You don't pay running backs over $10 million a year. Every single time it doesn't work. And we may get proven otherwise with Derrick Henry because he's a baller all on his own, but you look at guys like Zeke Elliott, Todd Gurley, it does not work. If you look at the past 10 Super Bowl winners, what they're paying their running backs when they won, it's all under like $1.52 million. So when you have a rookie running back on a rookie deal, such as A.J. Dillon or what like Eddie Lacy was, you can put that money towards other parts such as offensive line, wide receiver, defense. You cannot pay a running back over $10 million a year and still have other great players in other positions. As much as it hates me to say, that might have been hook, line, sinker for Aaron Jones. A.J. Dillon, 21 for 124, 2 touchdowns, 5.9 average. Dude ran over the 300-pound nose tackle on his 2nd touchdown. I think Dickerson was the nose tackle. Just completely made this dude, a 300-pound lineman, just fly. And I'll try to put it in the overlay. It's ridiculous. This guy runs hard. It seems every single time it takes 4 to 5 defenders to take him down. It seems like he'll run for 3 yards, and then contact will happen, and he's pushing for another 3 or 4 yards. It's ridiculous. It reminds me just like rookie Eddie Lacy. It reminds me of Marshawn Lynch. It reminds me of these beefy running backs that are so great to have in cold months and just in general all year round. That's not to mention Aaron Jones had a wonderful game. 10 for 94. Of course, he did have that long run that should have been called back, but wasn't. Got to challenge it quicker. The Packers ran up and got a playoff. But Aaron Jones played really well too. He left early with an injury. It looked like a hip or tailbone type of injury, came back. So they started to give A.J. Dillon more carries, and it seemed like that was a hot hand to run with, and hence why he ended up with more carries. So in the passing game, Aaron Rodgers, unaffected by the snow. Ridiculous. 21 for 25, 231 yards, 4 touchdowns. Did have an interception. Malcolm Butler, you're a clown. You're down by 19 points in the 4th quarter and you mock Aaron Rodgers' belt celebration. Like, what do you expect? What do you expect? Like, cool dude, you made one good play in a Super Bowl and then got benched the next Super Bowl and didn't play it down. And you're going to mock Aaron Rodgers? You got torched. Absolutely torched that game. Not to mention torched twice really bad after you mocked the belt. So, good job. You got an interception on Aaron Rodgers, down 19 in the 4th quarter, getting smoked in Lambeau. That's 3 passes hitting the ground if you include the interception as a pass not hitting the ground, which it isn't. That's ridiculous. You're in the snow. And like I said, obviously the ball switched out, but still ridiculous. Aaron Rodgers, you are the MVP of 2020. You are the MVP of this league. Pretty much all of those passes went to Davante Adams. Davante, 11 for 142, 3 touchdowns. Shit on Malcolm Butler, keep shitting on him. Davante Adams is the #1 wide receiver in the league. I'll go outright and say it. You know, I've been saying he's top 3, and that's just out of respect to the other guys, such as Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins is a freak player. But Davante is unreal. It's just unreal. He is playing at a level I have not seen my entire life in terms of, you know, only playing 13 games this season and putting up these type of stats. It's ridiculous. He is the #1 receiver. Anyone who says otherwise right now is wrong. In other receiver news, Equanimeous St. Brown got his first career touchdown. It was his only catch for 21 yards on a great concept. It was a double post that got hot routed to a streak on the outside by Tay. Safety flipped over, and it was a crosser route. EQ, beat his man, easy. Touchdown, wide open pretty much. Great concept, great call by LaFleur there. MVS with another goose egg, but I'm not going to talk about that. As I said, Aaron Rodgers is your MVP. Davante Adams is probably your offensive player of the year. The Packers are 12-3. They're running for the #1 seed in the NFC, and the playoffs are going to have to go through Lambeau if they win next week against Chicago. For Chicago, if the Cardinals beat the Rams next week, which is pretty much a certainty at this rate because Jared Goff's out with that broken thumb, and then they lose to the Packers, they're out of the playoffs. They're not making it. Now, they're starting to get hot. They are. And Mitch Trubisky's actually playing at a decent level, which makes me kind of throw up in my mouth a little bit. But wouldn't this be even greater if we got the #1 seed and sent the Bears home to watch the playoffs from their couch and watch the Packers play in the playoffs? This is a Super Bowl team, guys. This is a team that is ready to make a push for the Super Bowl and potentially win a Super Bowl. I know there's no fans, but it's still Lambeau, it's still the frozen tundra, and that showed true on Sunday night. I'm extremely excited about this team. I'm extremely happy about this team. I can't even say enough. I'm kind of speechless. That game Sunday took my level from here to here. That was a complete game. We were waiting to see it, and they finally put it all together. On that note, bring on the Bears next week. As always, go Pack Go.